What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I am Dial here with another movie review. Today we are talking about the newest prequel of the Quiet Place franchise, A Quiet Place Day 1. I've already reviewed the first two Quiet Places. If you haven't seen my reviews for those, check out my channel. It is on a playlist called A Quiet Place. But let's not waste any more time. Let's get into A Quiet Place Day 1. So, you guys already know I love the first two Quiet Place films. I think they're absolutely great. They ended up being some of my favorite sci-fi horror films of all time. It was such a surprise when it first came out, a very pleasant surprise. And John Krasinski did an amazing job directing those first two films. And he did a really good job acting in it as well, along with his wife Emily Blunt. I think they both were great, and I love the family dynamic in those first two films, and just the overall concept of the aliens, how they destroy anything that makes a sound. Like that, I thought it was a very unique concept for a sci-fi horror film. So obviously, I am excited to see more from this franchise, and I'm interested to see where they're going to go from there after, what's Emily Blunt's character and the kids, where are they going to go after the second film? But instead, they decided to go the prequel territory, which I'm open to. I feel like there's been a lot of prequels lately, so I would like to see some more stuff that moves forward a franchise instead of just going backwards. But this is one of the few times where I'm actually interested in seeing the beginnings of this because I've been a little bit more curious to know when the aliens came down, why did the aliens came down, how did the humans react when the aliens first came to Earth. So I'm open to seeing how that's going to go. And Krasinski's actually not coming back to direct this. They got Michael Sarnowski, who's best known for this film called Pig, starring Nicolas Cage, which I have never seen. I haven't heard that much about. So this is pretty much my first exposure to this director. But obviously, Krasinski is still I'm sorry, not directing, producing. He's still producing the film, so he still has some, and I think he's writing the script as well. So he still has input as far as this franchise, which he should. And obviously we're not going to get Krasinski and Emily Blunt in this one. Instead, we're getting Lupita Nyong'o, Jimon Hansu, and Joseph Quinn, which I enjoy. I like all three of those actors. Joseph Quinn is about to be our new Johnny Storm in the Fantastic Four. Jimon Hansu is just everywhere. I'm happy to see him. And Lupita Nyong'o, she's great. What can you say about her that hasn't been said already? So definitely have some good talent here. I'm also glad that Jimon Hansu is going to be in this film because he was also in A Quiet Place Part 2. And I'm hoping that they give him a little bit more to do as far as the plot because he wasn't in the second film that much. So I'm hoping that they give him a little bit more to do. And looking from the trailer, it's going to be a completely different location from the first two because the first two was like pretty much in a small town in the prairie in the middle of nowhere. And this time around, they're going to be in New York City, which definitely a very different environment from where they were in the first two. And of course, New York, the city that never sleeps. And of course, it makes a lot, there's a lot of noise going on in New York. So definitely not the safest place when these aliens come down. So the trailer was really giving off like a different vibe, because like the first two films were a lot more intimate and like, a lot more like not as big as far as set pieces and stuff like that. It was a lot more of a methodical, intimate setting with the first two. This one just looks like a full on like action blockbuster type of feel. Like I started to get some similar feelings of Cloverfield when I saw the trailers because it was really giving off those vibes as far as aliens invading New York, just mass hysteria everywhere. It was really giving me those type of vibes. But I was very interested to see how they were going to do with this. Different environment, different characters, different directors. So let's see how this goes. And overall, I really enjoyed this film. I really really liked it. Uh, Definitely, they're keep the momentum going as far as quality in this franchise. Yeah, very very good film. I thought Michael Sarnowski did a pretty good job directing this film. I'm definitely glad that they're keeping the similar vibes from the first two, as far as like the whole concept of staying quiet and still having that slow, methodical, intimate moments here and there while they are in a different environment in New York City instead of a small town. But yeah, I just thought it was very effective. It's personally, this is not my favorite. I didn't love this as much as the first two films, but I still thought this was a good movie. Um, one of the things that one of the things I thought was great in this film, obviously, is Lupita Nyong'o. I think she definitely carried this film. Yeah, her performance was really good. Don't want to get into her details too much because it might be spoilers, but yeah, just seeing there's a lot of like sympathetic things with her developments that I could really attached with, and that was one of the things that I was concerned with going in because they don't have that family type of dynamic in this. It's like complete strangers trying to survive, which is not bad, but it just as far as like that human connection, I was afraid it wasn't going to be in it as much as the first two, but still they still have it. Lupita Nyong'o, I thought she was awesome. It's and like I'll say a little bit. She is dealing with the illness in this movie, and so that's just another like handicap that she has on top of trying to deal with these crazy aliens, whatever. But she pulled it off really well. Man, she lost a lot of weight for this film too to get into character, and it's just I just commend her. Like she does. I wouldn't say she's fully a method actress, but like she does do the extra mile to like actually get us into get herself into the role and have us be into the world that they create. Because it's similar feelings that I got when I saw her in Us. I thought she was fantastic in that. Her becoming a completely different person in that, and it's just transforming herself physically and you know, and their performance wise is great. So, but yeah, she was great in this. Joseph Quinn, I thought he was really good. I don't think he was quite as strong as Lupita, but they worked off each other pretty well. And once again, it's just two strangers trying to survive this alien attack. And at first, like Lupita's character don't want anything to do with him, but eventually they create a bond, and they end up becoming friends. So that I thought that dynamic was pretty good. He was more of like the cowardly one of the two. Like he starts getting panic attacks, and like he's not as courageous as Lupita's character, but still thought he was good. He was charming. Um, I don't think this will be any indication of how he will be in the Fantastic Four film. He's playing a completely different character in this, but still interested to see what he's going to do from here. Jimon Hansu, I thought was solid. Once again, unfortunately, he's not in the movie that much, and I thought he was going to play a little bit of a bigger role in this, but not so much. Wouldn't say he's like a throwaway. Like they sprinkle him throughout the film, and he does help with with the escape and hiding people and stuff like that. But as far as like getting to know him more as a character, not as much in this. Um, one other thing I have to mention, and I know it's probably going to be weird for me to mention this, but there's a cat in this. Lupita's character has a cat, and that cat is excellently trained. I don't know how they got this cat to do the stuff that they're doing in this movie, but I say this because like the cat is very prominent. Like he's a main character. Um yeah, it's like the cat follows the main characters around throughout the entire film. It's not like the cat's like in the beginning of the film and runs away or gets eaten or nothing. No, this cat is a survivor, and in ways the cat helps the humans. um, it's that type of stuff. Now, is it like the Marvels level silly? No, it's not. But I just noticed, like, man, this cat is very prominent in this film. It's like, are they trying to make this cat a main character? I don't even know. Um, but yeah, so as far as the direction, I once again I do think Sarnowski did a pretty good job directing this film. I don't think it's quite as strong as how Krasinski directed it. I think Krasinski had a little bit more creative stuff as far as the camera work and the editing and getting the suspense down, you know. Sarnowski, like to me, I think he used a little too much of the close-ups and the shaky cam, and I think there the jump scares. Most of them still worked, but there was a couple of them that felt a little cheap in this. And once again, with them being in a big city, I think the creepiness of it is kind of lost because like with the first two movies, with it being in a small town and not as many people and not as many aliens as you see in this film, like it's kind of like the alien versus alien situation, you know, because because this one actually felt a little bit more actiony than the first two films, and so this, as far as the scares and the creepiness, it's not there as much. There's still some scenes here and there, but it's I don't think this is quite as scary as the first two films. Um, and once again, it's like while the characters are good, I don't think they're quite as well developed as the family in the first two, which is kind of impossible because it's two different scenarios. But that's why I love the first two so much. On top of the fact that the direction and the editing and the suspense is there, is that the family dynamic is so good. You care about these characters wanting to get out of the situation, like desperately, like you're on the edge of your seat. I didn't feel as much on the edge of my seat in this as I did in the previous two, but it's not to take away from this movie at all. It's still a good installment. Um, but yeah, it's like and also as far as we still don't get any more development with the aliens that we don't already know. You know, like as far as this being a prequel, like it's cool to see the aliens attack a different location, but as far as this, like, you know, did we get more development? Do we know more about these aliens? No, it's still a mystery, and maybe they just want to keep it a mystery. Maybe we don't need to know where the aliens come from. Um, you know, but I don't know. It just feels like a anthology more than anything. With this being called Day One, because they kind of already like showed when the aliens first crashed in the second film. So how much of a prequel is this actually? I don't know. But overall, I still like the film. I thought it was good. It's a worthy installment of the Quiet Place franchise, but it is my least favorite of the three. I am interested to see where they would go from here outside of the continuation from the second film. You know, I'm still more excited about that. But as far as what can they do, you know, in other spin-offs or, you know, stuff like that, like where other locations could they do? They could do remote islands. They could do I don't know. They could do anything really. They could show any place in the world where the aliens crash and have them, you know, attack wherever. So there's definitely some possibilities as far as like different locations, but I think we eventually have to get to a point where we need to know a little bit more of these aliens. So overall, I will give A Quiet Place Day One. I will give it a B plus. Yeah, it's still a really good film. I still think it's worth watching if you are fans of the first two films. And honestly, you don't really need to see the first two films to understand this movie. Like it's pretty standalone, you know. So yeah, if you haven't seen the first two Quiet Place films, I still think you could go into this just fine. But those are my overall thoughts on The Quiet Place Day One. What did you guys think about it? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys think it was okay? How does it compare to the first two films? Comment your thoughts down below and let me know. But if you guys enjoyed this review, please don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to hit the bell if you want to be notified on future videos I'll be doing. We're on the road to 1,000. Let's get to it. But that's all I have for you movie fans, and I'll catch you guys next time. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.